Hello, and welcome to another horrific review. I'm joined by Cameron, Chris, and Steve as we discuss Drag Me to Hell. Directed by Sam Raimi, this 2009 movie tells the story of a loan officer who evicts an old woman from her home and finds herself the recipient of a supernatural curse. This movie was made on a budget of 30 million and brought in 90.8 million at the box office. So, safe to say it did rather well.
A little bit.
I think this might have been
It's a good
popular.
return.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I was
Yeah.
definitely one of those motherfuckers the first weekend. Such a good movie.
Yeah, I
And-
went to see it.
Seeing this shit in theaters was so funny too, because at this point, a lot of people know Sam Raimi for the Spider-Man movies. So that's what a lot of people, I think, went in for, because I know a lot of people ended up walking out of the movie, especially during the possession scene where the goat turned. Which, people like me and my wife, we're fucking losing our shit. We're laughing. We're having a good old time. And yeah, people are just getting up and walking the fuck out.
Oh, bless the normies.
A lot of them that were in our cinema was just laughing. When Sylvia was like oozing all that bloody liquid all over her and stuff like that. And then
Which time?
the body in the coffin, and they just thought it was a good Sam Raimi film because it
Oh,
just so.
My first time watching this was Thursday. I hadn't seen it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what? Where
I'm
you
still-
been?
I'm still a newbie when it comes to this stuff. Like, I don't usually like the ones with the jump scares or anything like that. But this one had so much like comedy to it, like just like Evil Dead, 2, Army of Darkness, all those, that I enjoyed it. It was good. It was a good mix
Yeah.
of horror and comedy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Horror is more than this is what I'm trying to get through people's heads on this channel is horror is not just a slasher movie and it's not just the jump scare. There's loads, there's a whole wide spectrum. If you like something, a particular type of movie, there's probably a horror genre for it, subgenre. Because
Right.
that's it. And this sort of schlocky horror comedy with a bit of an edge to it, because let's be honest, there's an edge to Raimi's movies.
Oh yeah.
That if you're just expecting pure ha ha ha, you're going to get a bit shocked.
Yeah.
Well, it reminds me a lot of and bear with me on this one. It reminds me a lot of Tarantino films, where it's like right here is reality, right here is his reality. So it's just a hair above reality. That it's not quite hyper reality, but it's almost like a comic book that's based in the real world. So it lends itself to things that in a traditional horror movie you'd be like, wow, that's goofy as fuck, because it's already kind of goofy as fuck to begin with.
Yeah, but I think that ridiculousness is what gives his universes,
Oh, yeah.
their flavor. And like I said, you don't have to watch it all, all the time straight. Like you don't have to watch one type of horror all the time. That's the beauty of it. You can watch the horror genre and like watch 5 different horror movies and they'll all be different, different tone, themes. I not get bored. It's why I love it.
I mean,
Where-
I'm going
it's like-
on 38 years of it.
yeah.
It's like we've been going over the late 60s, early 70s ones, haven't we? And they're they still hold up really.
Mhm.
It's just different type of horror, mainly because things like you would get today, like the Sam Raimi one, you wouldn't get back in the 60s, 70s, because you'd have old Mary Whitehouse going, "You can't do that," but yeah.
Sam Raimi has had such an eclectic collection of movies too. Like he did a movie called For Love of the Game, which is a straight sports movie, like no sense of anything horror related or like. I was shocked when I realized that he directed that. Obviously, the Spider-Man movies, Evil Dead. It's such a weird mix for a director. It's pretty cool.
I'll never forget Spider-Man 2, the operating table scene.
Oh, it was great.
And you're just
Dr.
like,
Octopus.
yes,
Yeah.
that's Raimi.
Yeah.
That's you're just like,
Doc Ock.
Doc Ock. Yeah.
and people just weren't ready for that. I think they were like, oh, what's this? Oh, this is my
Right.
fluffy
Well,
comic book stuff.
And it's so funny because now that there's like decades in between when those movies came out and the new ones. Like there's a whole new love for them. Seeing that last Spider-Man movie made me want to go through and rewatch all of them. And it's just so funny that to think that he's even a part of that universe.
Yeah. But there's a real disdain. I'm actually put off comic book fans because there's a real disdain for horror among them.
Well, and it's funny because
It's proper like thumb their nose down, like your comic book normie, your DC Marvel type. They're like, oh, horror people, and you're like, what the?
Well, and that doesn't make sense at all, especially with DC. Like DC is dark as fuck, but most comic book fans nowadays have never even read a fucking comic book. They're just obsessed with the movies, and it's like it's like calling yourself a fan of an author and all you've ever seen is their adaptations. You've never read a fucking book.
Yeah,
so it doesn't quite make sense.
You just can't rely on like books to film. There are very, very, very few that actually mirror the actual book.
Right,
and
even the ones that do.
Comics. I haven't read comics for decades, but I imagine it's the same sort of thing. That that these film directors probably get frightened to put everything that's in the comic in the film, through getting all the backlog from it. So
Well, here's a perfect example: The Mask.
yeah,
What the hell was that on TV? That wasn't The Mask.
I
I see the blank face.
I was like, I never read the Mask.
I didn't see the comic. Yeah, I didn't read the
Okay,
comic.
right. The Mask. Right. Okay, so that's it's good that right. The Mask.
We're not disagreeing. We just
No.
waiting for
Right.
you.
So the Mask itself, the actual comic book, is ultra violent. I mean, people getting ripped to shreds. When he pulls out all the machine guns, he's shredding rooms up. And
Nice.
also, I mean, it's ultra gore, ultra violent.
yeah.
And that's not what. What do you call it? Eon Flux? If you remember that movie.
Oh
If
yeah.
you remember the original MTV series it was based off.
Yeah.
So I
No,
remember
the two are
MTV
not the
series.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, if you don't know the book or the comic, and you just see the film, you think that is how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But if you've got the knowledge that normally if there's a book, the film isn't a patch on the book. I don't think I've ever met a thing where it's the other way around, where the book is never a patch on the film. But Stephen King stuff is the perfect example. And you read some of the Stephen King, like Misery. In that one, she actually chops his feet off, but he only gets nobbled in the film.
Yeah, man, I feel like that's
worse.
way worse.
Yeah.
Like way worse.
Because it's gone. If it was amputated, it's gone. But if it's like broken and still attached, then all them nerve endings are still there. Like, and if it doesn't get set properly, then oh yeah, I actually thought that. Yeah, I thought that was worse than the book.
Yeah, fuck all that noise.
But the point is, people that don't know Raimi aren't familiar. He was just returning true to form.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we've been talking about Dale and I have been talking about the Peter Jackson movies. Like, and if you don't know Peter Jackson, then Lord of the Rings isn't just what he's about.
Right. It's so funny to me that people don't understand Jackson before Lord of the Rings. Like The Frighteners. Now it doesn't hold up at all. Like it looks like shit. I mean, the idea is still there. I fucking love that movie.
It's the
CG
movie.
is just god awful. But it's like that is Peter Jackson in a nutshell to me. Like I fucking love the Lord of the Rings series. I mean, duh, that goes without saying. But yeah, it's so funny when people automatically think that, and it's like, but what about his other movies, the ones he first started with?
My first Peter Jackson one was Brain Dead.
Fuck yeah.
It's like I've told Colin several times that I used to belong to a video shop when I was younger, and I used to be good friends with the girl behind the counter. I just used to say, "Oh, what films you got in that I'd like?" And she said, "Oh, I'll try this one. Tell me what you think." And half the time she never used to charge me for the films.
Oh, yeah.
just because I give her the lowdown on it, because she wouldn't watch it because it's horror. She was one of these girls who'd hide behind the counter if it was horror. But Brain Dead was one of the first ones.
Nice.
Yeah, I think Frighteners for me was the first one, and then that's the only thing I was familiar with Peter Jackson from. So then when they announced who the director for Lord of the Rings was, and I was so excited about that franchise, I was like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
And then it turned out to be the best decision like ever.
Yeah,
Right.
but when you think of even movies like Bad Taste and Meet the Feebles, you're like, they're giving it to him? What is this going to be? Is this going to be Lord of the Rings on
Right.
acid or something?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's so funny too because of the fact that like all the technology that they were using in the Frighteners, like the Frighteners essentially was the beta testing for all the equipment and stuff they're going to be using in the Lord of the Rings. So you look at the difference between those two movies, and it's just like this is a completely different fucking person. This isn't the exact same stuff that he used, but it's the exact same shit that he used.
Yeah. Frighteners was just, I think it was a case of Hollywood studios. I think that was his first taste of Hollywood, and he needed that. It was better him finding out what Hollywood liked during that movie than getting the Lord of the Rings, where at least when he got the Lord of the Rings, it was like, oh, let's tidy this all up and not let that happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's the same as Raimi. He seemed to have had a better bead on keeping control of his stuff and keeping his theme and not letting himself getting taken over
Mm-hmm.
by the. Do you really have to do that? Sorry,
I
I'm
saw
trying to work
a
with
behind
you.
the scenes or like a making of feature on this movie, and Raimi was saying that there was one scene he wanted to get to show that the sun was coming down, that she was running out of time on her last day, and he wanted to get this big crane shot where she comes out of the house and you see the sun in the background, and then his AD had told him that we don't have the money for this and we only have like 2 hours left with this actress on set. So he decided to just shoot like her, and then in the background like the shade, and then like when he saw it in the editing room, he's like, "Oh, this is completely fine." But he said after being on Spider-Man and having this like big budget, it was like a shock to his system to have to relearn how to like make use with less. But then he said like it worked just as good. I didn't need that shot. So it's funny how directors have to adjust to that switching of budgets up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but when he started with nothing.
Yeah,
He
literally.
made movies on shoestrings. So I think that's the danger. If things become too easy, you lose that kind of spark or hunger. You always need that bit of struggle, I think,
Mm-hmm.
in life in general, but definitely if you're doing anything creative. If everything's just handed you, look at the state of the pampered people that make stuff today. They're crap.
Mm-hmm.
That just there's nothing of actual note or quality or even memorable. That's the worst thing, I think. The fact that you forget things after you've watched them because they're just so bland.
Right. That is the worst. Like, hate it or love it, you feel something. Indifference is just terrible. Like, the art should make you feel something one way or the other. But if you're just like, meh, you fucked up.
Yeah, this movie is bloody still watchable. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
proper, not just watchable as in, oh yeah, I've seen that before. Like, and this is great. You're
This
you're
is
there,
one,
you're watching it.
like, I watch this one at least 2 or 3 times a year. Like, anytime it comes on, I'm okay, plans are done, I'm just gonna finish this.
Yeah.
It was good.
Carry on.
Yeah. I'm saying one thing he did do was see the normal horror tropes. He just took those and went, nah, out the window. We're not doing that.
His films appear to be like full on from the start, don't they? They come at you, bump, as they start. Whereas other things just lead into it. It's if you think of this one, it opens up with the scene in the house with the fire pit.
Pasadena, yeah.
Poor
Right.
little lad is getting done, isn't he? But
Like a child dying right in the first couple minutes of the movie, hilarious.
yeah,
Because that's the biggest taboo in horror still. You can't
Oh yeah,
kill
yeah,
children.
can't kill kids. And
Yeah.
that one just got to go straight to hell. That's
That
Or
is-
pets. Or
that-
pets, and he did both in this one.
my latest book.
Yeah.
One of the people come back to me who's read it and said, because I actually injure 3 dogs in it, when their owner is getting attacked. And oh God, the feedback I had from this woman, that I should have left the dogs alone. Why did you have to injure the dogs? And I said, well, the dogs were attacking the monster who was like attacking their their owner, like, and they wouldn't have just sat there and gone, oh, what's happening?
I
Not
don't know. Have
rid-
you met my dogs?
I have. I've been buried under your dogs.
You have.
Oh dear. But
See, that's the thing with like animals and children. Like, I mean, I admittedly I don't give a fuck if kids die in a movie because it doesn't matter. But like with animals and shit, it's like there's 2 ways of going about it. There's doing it just to affect the audience. That's cheap, that's lazy, and fuck you for that. But if there's like a legit reason, then I'm an animal lover. I fucking anything with animals, I bawl my fucking eyes out. It doesn't matter if I've seen it once or seen it a million times. Like even fucking cartoons get me. Like the episode of Futurama where Fry finds his fossilized dog, and the end, he doesn't want to bring him back. I lose my shit every time I see that. All that being said, it's like if there's a purpose for it, then I'm okay with it. Like you look at shit like Everly or Cujo, where there's animal deaths there. It's like that makes sense. That's acceptable. Just don't do it to be a dick.
But that's like anything. Any trope is just don't. I can't be bothered with just shock jocks. Oh, I'm an edgelord. I'm just going to shock you for the sake of shocking you. Talking about, did you watch that movie?
I did.
Which one?
No, the Darius. Did you watch it?
Oh, not yet. Not yet.
Right.
That's coming either tonight or tomorrow.
All right, because I upset the director by laughing at it, apparently. So I just want to see, is it just me being a twisted fuck, or is it? But that's
So,
just
I'm probably gonna laugh,
edgelord. Oh, I'm an edgelord to be edgy for the sake of edginess, and I'm like, actually, one animal scene that really got me, I didn't expect, was the Amityville horror remake with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
that was a
man,
bloody
that
intense scene.
Yeah, that one that fucks me up too.
And I'm like, it's Ryan Reynolds. We should not be getting intensity. We're actually getting an actor, not Ryan Reynolds. It was like, how did this happen?
Right? Like, so for me, and I know we already talked about it, but well, fuck it, we're already talking now. So, like, for me, it went from like I saw him in Van Wilder, and then it was Amityville Horror. Like, I was not expecting it to be that. Yeah, definitely, Adam. This is like, if this could be a business card, this is Sam Raimi's business card.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, of course, everybody loves the Ash series, but
Ryan Reynolds actually caused havoc because when I was staying in a hotel in Vancouver, the hotel actually closed off the bar with the restaurant, just because Ryan Reynolds was there doing a promo for his new film. And we were all going, well, hold on, we've paid to stay here. Bugger Ryan Reynolds. And Ryan Reynolds then went, let him in. So everyone who was like, wanting to go to the bar and this thing was in the sort of back scenes of his like promo for the film.
Nice.
So I haven't got a problem with Ryan Reynolds now. Did have at the start, but
he seems like that kind of guy.
Yeah,
let him in. He goes. So.
Right. Sorry, Chad. I was trying to run something there, but it's not working. Oh, that's out the window. I'll have to look at that. Sorry, just a wee things happening on the side, and it's not.
Going back to this Drag Me Tale. If you look at like 1981, Evil Dead, there was shock horror. People were complaining about it, and everything. Whereas you fast forward to Drag Me to Hell, it's really just as bad, but
slightly more polished. That's it.
I don't remember anybody getting raped in this one.
Yeah.
It's the only thing he didn't do, really. Let's be honest.
Pretty much. A lot of bodily fluid. Lot of bodily fluid.
But they're like the scene in the beginning with the kid. Like straight away, what did you do? Tell me what he did. Like instantly, not oh bless the child type nonsense. It's like what did that wee shit do? Blah blah blah. All right, so there we go. We got the Lamia's like just basically a tool. It's not even. It's just doing its own thing until it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't get. This isn't the final girl. This isn't. Don't read for the book. You know, when you think about how this all starts, you know, after that initial scene, like the initial scene just introduces the Lamia and the concept of it.
Mm-hmm.
What did Christine do to deserve any of this?
I mean, you know, sometimes that's just how life is. You step on the wrong person's foot on accident, and it just sets off a whole chain of events.
Woman was a gypsy, wasn't she? So she had this gypsy curse type thing.
Everybody knows you don't fuck with gypsies. You steal their tears, so you don't fuck with them.
Yeah.
So the first time I saw it, I had the same reaction. Like this girl, you know, she made one minor mistake. She even owned up to it at the end. And, you know, like she definitely didn't deserve to, you know, to rot in all eternity for it. And she even like seems like a good person. Like she had that chance to pass off the button to someone in the diner at the end, and she chooses not to. So she seemed like a, you know, pretty good person at first. And then I started to think about it a little bit more, because the thing that threw me was like there was that one scene at the very end where she goes to buy the dress. And the worker is like, you know, we're not open yet. And she's like insisting on it. And I started to think about like, maybe she's not as good of a person as we think. And I have a theory about that. If you'll bear with me for a minute.
Have we got a crazy theory?
Yes, if you don't mind.
All right. Time for a crazy theory.
Go for it.
It's a theory. It's a Chris. It's a theory.
Chris's crazy theory.
That's the first time I've seen that.
So I apologize for wasting all of your time, but bear with me. I want to get your opinion on this. All right. So she seems like a good person, but at the beginning of the movie, she's listening to a tape trying to correct her Southern accent because she doesn't want to be a farm girl. So she, you know, she's trying to be someone she's not. So that's her first sin. Okay. Then she's clearly bulimic, which again, that's a disease. That's not her fault. But she's trying to hide it from everyone else. She's pretending to be someone she's not for appearance sake. And I think that's when, you know, she looks at the cake and the cake has an eyeball on her because she's thinking about food. Also, Ganoush, she shoves her fist through her throat. Like, there's a lot of subtle hints that she has this issue with bulimia. But again, it's all about presentation, hiding who she really is on the inside. Then she lies to the granddaughter when she goes to the house. And she said that it was the bank that took her house, and she actually tried to help the grandma. And then the granddaughter of Ganoush said, you know, that's a lie. She said, I just work here. Right? That's the classic thing to say. It wasn't my decision. I just work here. When it was her decision. So that's another sin she made. Then she kills her cat. Enough said. That's not good. Okay? And then she lies about that later, where she shows little remorse for that, where she says, how am I supposed to know where my cat is? You know? So,
yeah.
Right? So she's not quite the good person she is. And then also later in that conversation with her brother or her boyfriend's parents, she says, I don't see much of my mother. And then they asked her why. And she said, well, ever since my dad died, she's an alcoholic. So she's avoiding her mom, who's suffering because of a trauma and the fact that she's gone to alcohol. And then
I don't understand that. Trust me.
yeah. Like, avoiding alcohol is just not a bad
And then
thing.
at the very end, the lady says, I'm not open yet. And then Christine hasn't learned her lesson. She says, no, I insist. I'm seeing my boyfriend for a special trip we're taking. So she's making this poor worker open up early. Granted, I probably shouldn't have ordered that the right way. That's not the worst of her sin. I should have ended with the cat. But
yeah, it was definitely the cat. Definitely the cat.
She's not the perfect person she seems to be. And I think that's why it's deserving of her fate. Besides, you can't spell Christine without an S, an I, and an N.
There you go.
And there we go. There's another crazy theory.
If this was Chris's theory on me, I would have been dead a long time ago.
Well, that's next week. Tune in next week.
Tune in next week for more theories. It's a theory. It's a Chris. It's a theory.
Chris's crazy theory.
I'm so
I
sorry for
will get
wasting your
around just
time.
timestamping all these and putting them on the channel.
I apologize.
I want one of those things for my jokes.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to get.
Every time I tell a joke,
See if you bloody would. All you lot would actually watch the bloody channel, as well as just taking part. It'd be nice. And actually twig onto some of the stuff that's been built over the years.
I was like, I'm surprised you guys haven't seen that yet. That's I fucking love that shit.
But
Yeah, where were we?
Sylvia Ganoush, she is not the poor old sweet woman either.
Well, I mean, that's because she's a gypsy, which you're not supposed to say because that's not PC, but she's a fucking gypsy.
you're going to be cursed for that.
Yeah, whatever.
You see my notes? It's just well people don't see what's not read out when I'm preparing for these shows. She is a bitch. She is horrible.
I do like justice, and I kind of think that it should be noted that at least when she put this curse on this girl, that it cost her own life because she died the same day, which is not a coincidence. So at least there's that kind of balance of, if you're going to put this curse on this young girl, you can't live and get away with it. It's going to take that energy out of you. And so, right. Because there was no reason for her to die the same day. It's not a coincidence.
I
so
mean,
at least
she's old as fuck and she got beat the shit up.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah. I feel like getting your face smashed into a dashboard after, a fairly high speed accident, that's going to do some fucking damage. So, she clearly doesn't have money for her mortgage. I really doubt she went to the hospital.
I like
Yeah,
right
that's
at the thing when she wanted one of the sweets off the desk when the girl was going to ask her manager. She takes her false teeth out in the
Oh,
bank.
man.
It's so sweet. And then when the girl's coming back, she quickly
That
back in. It's like, oh.
that is still the bit of this movie that fucks me up. I still can't handle the fucking dentures. Something about that. I understand it's supposed to be gross. It's supposed to be but man, that shit hits me.
But the fact she has different types of dentures for whether or not she's in attack mode is just hilarious. She's got her normal dentures, and then she's got her attack dentures.
Well, there's
which is leaving the people in the night.
There's the
Yeah, she's done this
underlying
before.
thing of the Lamia actually turning people into deadites. Because that's ultimately what they are. They're minor deadites.
Yeah.
And you got to have different teeth for that, right?
This could easily have been an entry into the Evil Dead series, but at the same time, he doesn't want to get typecast. So, yeah, we can see some of the similarities, but this is a movie in its own right, and it's so easy to compare it.
Well, can I just cut in there? While we're talking about teeth, all right? Do you know the best time for going to the dentist? 2:30.
I think I hear my mom calling. I gotta go, guys.
I have to go and punch a gypsy here.
Carry on.
Yeah, man. All the fluid swapping in this, it gets me too, Addo. It's shit's gnarly as fuck.
I was wondering if the dream sequence was a premonition for her visiting the home. Where she attacked. The whole. I was in the car, wasn't it? Sorry, I was in the car, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's I thought that happened after she went there.
Oh, yeah, sorry. No, it was the car, but because it was almost replicated the scene, and I was thinking, was this one of these ones that was she there, was she not there? Sort of thing. And that bit where her teeth flew out and then she gummed her,
Oh, God. Yeah, that shit's so fucking funny.
Oh, that was rough. I could just picture all the wee comic book Spider-Man fans going, "Ah!" But I saw it later on, so I was all right. I didn't go to a matinee or mid-afternoon. I went to like 7 o'clock or something, so it was like a nighttime viewing, so more of an adult crowd anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It looks so real that I was watching the making of, and it was basically just the two actresses just literally like hitting each other with staplers and like really going at it. Like they were really hurt after this. Like there was no stunt double for any of those scenes. It was no CGI. Like it was brutal.
I mean, if you've been hit with a stapler, it's really not that bad.
Did you go to one of them upper class schools that actually tried to teach you something?
Yeah, you fucking nerd.
Yeah.
We had to entertain ourselves with scalpels and fucking staplers.
I'll tell you how rough my school was. I was called a snob for actually reading books and not going out and throwing bricks at the police. You know what I mean? That was me being a snob, apparently.
I mean, checks
I
out.
was actually one of these people who actually stapled himself, but with an industrial stapler.
Oh,
And
lovely.
I used to carry it on my belt, and because I used to be putting things up. This was when I was only 16. I worked at timber yard for my uncle, and one day I was just playing with it while I was talking, and I actually fired it into my leg. And I've still got the scar now. Yeah, needless to say, my language that day was landed up in hospital and everything. But yeah,
Fuck.
so yes, I have been stapled.
Yeah, that was always a thing. The minute the staplers come out in school for any reason, that was it. Fudunk. Or the teacher went out of the room, somebody would have grabbed the stapler off the desk, and somebody was getting it like in the arm or somewhere, If we could get the forehead, that was, what I mean, that was the ultimate.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Fun times. But yeah, that was just
That
if
fight
you
scene
read,
is pretty goddamn.
if you watch any of the interviews from the Evil Dead, the original one for the cast, like they don't have what's reunions? They have therapy sessions. Because when they get together, oh, do you remember he did this to us? Do you remember he did that to us? And they're all like slightly shuddering about it.
Yeah, it's brutal. They had the actress like upside down like that in that scene where she's in the house and she's getting like flipped around. They really just like took the actress and just like swung her around on like a winch or something like that.
Wonder why she retired early from acting. She did like one
this was
movie
her
after
last.
this.
I was just gonna say this was her last movie. I wonder why.
She retired.
She retired. Yeah. Supposedly to raise her kids, but I think she was like, "F this."
She's like, I can't do that shit again.
Yeah. No. She got remade.
The maggots in the mouth, I think, was the last straw.
I mean, whatever. If you've ever eaten mealworms before, it's not that big of a deal.
They should have got it. Should have got it directed, Cole, by Freddie Francis with his wires on the flying.
Oh,
in John Pertwee, wasn't it?
Oh, that was something else.
Brilliant. But, yeah, she would have continued acting then.
I like the way there is mainly practical effects in this, and there's just a wee bit of CGI used. And he actually does the CGI well. He doesn't have it front and center. He has it in the shadows.
It's pretty of the time. It definitely feels like it's.
But even for off the time, like, come on. When you look at other movies around about the 2009 period, they're shockingly bad. But
I mean, even like the Spider-Man series, like I don't think that shit holds up very well, and that was before this.
Yeah. So what he did is he actually took it back, just pared it back a bit, so it was a bit more subtle. Yeah, it's off his time, but it was higher quality. Like I can't think of better quality CGI that time because he understood, I think, not to rely on it.
It was one of those things as well where the CGI actually went with the film. There's films these days where it's just CGI non-stop, and it doesn't actually fit in with the film itself. Where it went with the story and went with the film, like the fire pit. You knew the fire pit had to be CGI of some kind, and and unless it was like the old 60s one with Quatermass and stuff like that. But yeah, and it just fitted in, and it wasn't over the top, even though it was an over the top film.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well,
yeah.
and I feel like because of the fact that it is an over the top film, it does kind of lend a little bit of leeway when it comes to shit like that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, well, obviously that's going to look over the top because this is already over the fucking top.
Yeah, it blends with the tone, and but even he manages to. He could have went way more with the CGI. It could have looked like Frighteners. You know, I mean, there's that possibility.
Mm-hmm.
I
But
think
he
the only
managed to,
especially like the attacks like after Sylvia's dead, like they could have very easily just done that like CG shit, but they used actual puppets and stuff, and definitely looks way better that way.
I thought the only part that jumped out that made as could have been, better, I guess, on a bigger budget or just being made, more, current would be the goat. I thought the goat itself, when it tries to make like facial reactions and they did that CGI at times, that, could have been a little bit better. But I thought besides that, I'm trying to picture a scene where the CGI was bad. I can't think of one.
See, the only thing that comes to mind for me really is like the moment where she leaves work. It's right after she denies Sylvia the thing or the extension, and you get the doily that's floating around and shit.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it looks good, but it's clearly not real. Because I mean, how the fuck are you gonna make that real? The goat one, that didn't bother me too much. The part that bothered me is I feel like it should have been a puppet, because that would have gone more in the line of Raimi's, just like his style. But I can also understand why they wouldn't go that route, because the second you get a puppet like that, you're like, oh, this is an Evil Dead movie, because that's what it would have looked like ultimately. It would have been, oh, that's a deadite goat. So I get why they opted to go that route.
You could say that really gets your goat.
or you couldn't. You could just not do that. You could opt not to do that, but wouldn't be Steve otherwise.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk about Stu. Like, if there's a personification of just being a weasel wee fuck, that's him.
Well,
he's like, you want to like him, but there's just that underlying thing of like, there's something I don't like about this guy. Like, he loves her, he cares for her.
No, that's
Stu.
Oh
wait, no, Stu. Never mind. Sorry, that's Clay.
Clay.
Yeah. Never mind. Stu's a fucking twat.
Clay's a wet
guy.
wipe. No, Stu, the wee our competitor for the assistant manager job.
Yeah.
And he sells her finance plan to another bank, doesn't he?
Yeah. See, I feel like obviously he seems like more of a candidate for this curse, but I think like he's outwardly a douche, like everyone sees it. Just he is what it is. I think like the movie was making a point about people who try to outwardly pretend that they're nice, that they're good people.
Oh, virtue signaling, that lovely stuff.
Virtue signaling is a good example. Yeah.
Good guy, bad, shining up.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, shiny.
So I think that was like a subtle message of the movie. Maybe is that like hiding who you are is almost worse than just being an a-hole. Just that's an obvious one. Yeah.
It's just letting people know what they're going to get.
Yeah.
And then they make a choice whether or not they interact with you.
Yeah.
Well, it's so funny too, because like when he gets called out for it, his whole thing isn't, oh my God, I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to have this happen. He's like, just don't tell my dad. It's like, how big of a piece of shit are you that's your concern?
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because he looked like he was in his 40s or something, right? And the fact that he's still, don't tell my dad, that's pretty, pretty telling.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Clay, Christine's boyfriend, he's just a wet wipe. He's just the flakiest of flakes.
Mummy's boy, I thought. Very much a mummy's boy. Yeah, he's but I thought he was supposed to be a professor, wasn't he? And I thought he's a bit young for a professor.
No, didn't he just get his doctorate? Oh, he's a professor. Yeah. That's That's Hollywood, though. Everyone has to be like no older than 25.
Mhm.
You're not allowed, you know what I mean? If you're at your ancient in Hollywood terms, it's like, what the hell?
I felt bad for him. I don't know. He put up with a lot. I don't know many boyfriends that would have stuck around after the incident at the his parents' house,
Yeah.
where
Right.
she's talking to spirits and throwing things. So I don't know.
Well, and
I
then
thought it was,
the ending, man, that showed like he really did give a fuck. I mean, obviously he's gonna propose to her on this trip. Like that's the whole
yeah,
reason why he wants to take her out is,
Mm.
one, to get her mind off of being attacked and all the shit that she's going through, but also because he wants to make it special. And like this is probably some of the greatest acting that I've ever seen from Justin Long. That end scene, like that is just heart wrenching. The look on his face is
yeah.
pure
Yeah, that was
just
actually
bleak
really intense
misery.
for the moment.
Yeah.
That was good, but the rest of the movie is just a bit of a drip.
Mhm.
However, I think we get the impression that they've never really had a problem. This is the first problem they've had in the
Mhm.
relationship. It's just been coochie coo, fluffs and love hearts, and
Yeah.
and they've been dating for 2 years or something, or over a year at the point,
I think they said a year. Yeah,
year and a bit or something. You know what I mean? It's not
yeah.
like so she doesn't have a history of this. That's one thing that makes you, outwardly think.
Well, some of that though I feel like is on her because like the thing is we see how quickly she turns into putting her mask on as it was like like
Mhm.
oh no, everything's fine, I'm good. Like she just got fucked up by a demon and oh no, clearly you're a man and you're a you just got your doctorate, so you know better than me, so I'm going to agree with that and everything's okay. And it's like that dynamic is so fucking weird.
Yeah.
You gotta be honest with your fucking partner, otherwise this partnership is not gonna work.
Yeah, but the part
This
that
is
made
true.
that showed that he truly loved her was the when he spends 10,000 on something, and she's like, "I thought you
Mhm,
didn't believe in all this," and he's like, "I don't, but I know that you do." And I think
mhm.
like in a relationship, when like you just do something for the other person that's completely against what you would do for yourself, whether like one partner believes in a certain religion and then you just convert for them, or even if you don't believe in it, or I just think that was like the
Yeah, like even
ultimate
like
set.
showering, like you don't
Or
believe in showering,
showering.
but you shower because they pick
Showering,
at you.
religion.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The thing that really sort of got me scratching my head was this whole mystics of the world unite thing.
Mhm,
Like, there's no, we know this is a gypsy curse, so why didn't they stick with the Romany gypsy traditions?
mhm.
Why do we have to have every continent's mystic represented in this? It was a bit
Uh,
odd.
I mean, I get the introduction of the lady, obviously, because we get that in the beginning of the movie.
Mhm.
But yeah, having homeboy like is
What's that to
random
call it?
fortune teller.
It's the like uh occult version of Catholicism that's practiced in
Which
Latin
one? Like
America.
Santeria?
Yeah, I think
Uh,
she's a practitioner of that, but even that is a bit. How does that tie into Romany Gypsy? It's completely different. Uh, it's a tenuous link at best, even with her.
mhm.
And there was a mix of like Greek
Like if it
mythology
had
too.
been, if it hadn't been gypsies, for example, and it had been um Latin American, there's one, The Old World, I watched and reviewed, and it covers all that. In a brilliant movie. If you want an insight in that world, but if it had been in the same world, that way you've got the forces battling each other. But the whole mystics of the world unite thing, where you just got everything just thrown in a big melting pot. Um,
Yeah,
Well, again, I think like fortune teller aside, I mean that's just happenstance. Like the dude knows her because he's a grifter as well, and ultimately I think that's what it is. Um, if we hadn't had the intro that we had, yeah, it wouldn't make any fucking sense. But because of the intro, it's like, oh well, obviously she's got this personal grievance against this specific deity, so of course she's going to want to try to make things better. and then ultimately dies in the end because of it.
Mhm. Yeah, just because, like we'll go to sort of Indian mysticism, then we'll go back to Latin American Romany Gypsy. It's like boing, 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 and then the guy, her assistant, what was he? Was he Eastern European or
I'm not
something?
sure.
I didn't quite pick up his
Uh,
accent.
Yeah,
It
I
seemed
don't know.
Eastern European, if I had to guess, yeah. But maybe Raimi was trying to like hit on these like universal themes from different mythology. Maybe it was intentional to try to like find something that everyone could relate to or they heard a story about, and so it's not so specific maybe.
It's
Yeah.
I see it. It's like modern paganism. It's a big wishy-washy melting pot that doesn't actually mean anything,
Mhm.
and it's a representation of this. And it's my thing is, if you're going to do occult movies, then stick. That's where you need the rules, because if you don't have the rules, you can't stick by them, and then you can't fight against the thing, or you can't find the appropriate ritual. You know what I mean? Because that's always the sort of cult things. If you open the book, you have to learn how to close it again. If you invoke the spirit, you gotta find out how to put it back in the box. If you cast the offense, you gotta do the atonement. You know what I mean? That's the whole point. And each lore has its own way of doing it. And I think when you just put in this big melting pot, it dilutes it, and you don't get that. And I don't know. I just found it a bit strange the way he went about that, because that's the only bit of the
Well,
movie that kind of bounces all over the place here.
see, the thing for me is like, again, the gypsy, or not the gypsy, but the main woman, she made sense to me. Like, because if you really think about it, she might not have known anything about this deity, demon, whatever, until that boy was brought by. And this is, that happened 40 years prior to the events that happen in this movie. That's something that's going to fuck you up. So of course you're going to study, you're going to obsess over it. So it makes sense to me, her role, like all that, I buy into it. Again, with the fortune teller, I mean, he's just sort of the in between guy. He's the next domino that's going to continue the thing. He's a reach, but I don't feel like she was necessary.
No, I got her. To be honest, that's what I said. There's there's a Latin American practice, which, there's a tenuous link there, because obviously the
Well,
Spanish would have
that's
come
also
across the
like,
Romany Gypsies, that so it would have been, there's a tenuous link there. I think
Mhm.
it's the Indian guy, just kind of, and he's doing the Indian mysticism, so it's not as if he's just if he had been an Indian practicing European fortune telling and being an acolyte, yes, but he's not. He's doing his own thing, blah blah blah.
Where was the film based? Because it might have been in a community where there was a mixture of different races, like the Indian.
It's not about the race thing. It's about the, what I mean. It's not about. It's in context. Once again, it's this modern. Oh, let's just shove people in. If it's a diversity here, fuck that, because that's where it doesn't work.
well, this is way
Yeah,
before.
no. So it's before
the
all that
diversity
shit. So
hires.
it's not even that. I don't think that's even a thing. It's just the fact that when you're dealing with lore and occult things, stick to one and have a thread. When you try to dilute it and mix it,
See,
it
I don't
just
know though,
becomes a wee
because
bit of a.
like in real life, that's kind of a thing. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
you clearly know what my religious beliefs, as it were, are. Like, I hang out with a lot of different people that believe a lot of different things, and I mean, that's normal. That's real life, especially in melting pot areas. I mean, because this is like in California, I think. Like, this has to be like Bay Area region esque. So it is a melting pot of a lot of different people. So it's not really that much of a stretch that people from different religious backgrounds, practices, what have you, are going to know each other and communicate. So I don't know. It's obviously, it was happenstance that she ran into him. They're walking out after he picks her up, and oh, hey, here's the car. Oh, look, there's a fucking fortune teller. I should go in. Like, that's the only stretch for me, is that bit.
Yeah,
I
she had
thought
actually sought somebody out.
like if you go into New York City, though, isn't it? you go into a certain part of New York City and you can get your fortune told or see a medium left, right, and center. It's every other bloody shop, isn't it? Is medium, and so the chances of finding something like that, I don't know where the film was aimed at, but you never know, do you? You never know if there's going to be a shop where there's a fortune teller.
I suppose I remember reading this comes from me.
You never know if it's going to be an American white person or an American Hispanic, or it could be any one of them, because you see the different people around, don't you? You don't just if you walk down
right. You're misrepresenting what I'm saying. I'm not talking about the race of the people. I'm talking about the occult lore. So a thing I was always when I sort of had a look at occult stuff is you go into the fortune teller shop and when you see everything, you're dealing with a charlatan.
Mm.
The person, the true practitioner, has one device. So somebody doesn't have a crystal ball and crystals and bones and tarot cards. That's a charlatan. That's the one that doesn't do it, right? And this is my point I'm trying to make. So what I was saying is this should have been tied to the same lore, but the throw is that he's pulling out books from all sorts of cultures, not just a be all end all, which is like, right, he wouldn't know about it. If he sends something, he go, I need to speak to somebody. But when he starts pulling out the books and goes, oh, it's a Lamia, he should know it's a Lamia. He should just be scared shitless at the fact that he's think about I know it's a completely random movie to pick out, but think about Ghost. Patrick Swayze. No, but seriously though, think about Whoopi Goldberg's character. She's a charlatan, she's a hustler, and then she actually gets touched. And then that opens the door, and it was terrifying. But then all of a sudden, oh shit, I can do this now. I think that should have been replicated, not him pulling out books and explaining it beforehand. He should have went, oh my God, this is actually true. Oh, who do I know? It's actually a medium.
Mm.
And then that should have been the introduction. The bit that threw me is that all this stuff of pulling out books from every creed and blah, blah, blah. And it's all I just know instantly what that is. No, you don't. It's
the fact that he knew too much up front.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it's he does a bit of this and it does a bit of that, and that's what I'm trying to bring. I can stop bringing 2020 bullshit into this. This is a 2009 movie. Fuckers, behave.
I can see what you're saying, but I thought the actor did a good job because it gives you like a respite.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. He's a brilliant actor.
Yeah,
he played the role well.
Like
it was just
Yeah. No, I definitely get what you're saying. Yeah, it makes sense. But I thought that actor brought like a calming presence that you needed after the shit that she's going through, where you just need to like, okay, at least someone can help her. Someone's in control. So it kind of like calms you down a little bit. And then when he's not in control, then it makes it like 10 times worse.
Yeah.
But perhaps he did know everything. Perhaps he was, one of these people that didn't only concentrate on one subject. He wanted to know about the wider picture.
But that's the whole point of the occult and practitioner. You stick to one device. If you're divination, the charlatan's the one that is a bit of everything because they're nothing. If you try to be all things to all people or try to be a bit of everything, you're nothing. That's how you're meant to be able to tell between someone that's actually a practitioner and somebody's just winging it. It's one of them things of, right, if you see every crystal on the planet in the shop, you're not dealing with somebody. If they're all jangle, jewelry type, you're not dealing with the real deal. That's something that's always stuck with me, and I'm talking about from the 90s.
I get what you're saying, and I'm going to bring it to something that I'm an expert on, food. If you go to a pizza place and they have like a fried chicken section, and then they have some other sections, it's not a good pizza place. You
no, exactly.
to what you know.
No.
I don't know, man. I'd argue that shit. There's a Thai restaurant up the street from my house. Amazing Thai food. Equally as impressive pizza. Spaghetti, mediocre at best. But yeah, you get those random one-offs where it works.
Okay, that's the exception, not the rule. Fucking smart.
We were in an Indian last night, and halfway through the meal, the manager came up and he went, "Curry okay?" I said, "If you think I'm singing this time of night, you got another thing coming."
Well, I need one. I need to find one of them sound bites so I can put. I do. That's
Mute Steve.
No, you know the cheering and the crying or the boo, the crickets. Yeah. Oh, we'll have to talk about the Oldsmobile cameos.
Yeah, man, having
Like
it's not a Raimi movie without the classic. And
This is awesome.
Nice to see it like front and center, because usually in I guess in a lot of his other movies, like it's there, but you have to know you're looking for it. And this one's just like, nope, here it is, right out in the front,
right in your face.
I got excited because I didn't know about this. Oh, bye, Steve. Is this something we said? But
No,
I didn't know about this.
Dog food.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about the the car until watching Cam and Adam talking about it on one of their streams. I didn't know that was a thing, that it's in like all of his movies, even like the Spider-Man movies and stuff like that. So I got all excited. I was sitting by myself watching this late at night. It's like, oh, I see it.
That's the thing. When you become a Raimi fan and you get it. You know, and that's the sort of beauty. And do you remember today you're slapped in the face with Easter eggs? Like,
they're not even really Easter eggs
or cameos, or you know what I mean. You're just slapped in the face with them, and they're just horrendous. That's just if you're not a Raimi fan, that you just blink by and not even think about that.
Yeah, it changes nothing.
Yeah. Just, I think the worst one was Donald Trump, wasn't it, in Home Alone 2?
I don't even remember that because, to be honest, until Yanks all went mad, I didn't even know what the guy sounded like. I'd heard the name, but
well, it was actually filmed in his hotel.
All right.
So he had a cameo where Macaulay Culkin went up and asked him something in the foyer, and yeah.
So when I saw the car, I started thinking, like, is this in the same universe as the Evil Dead universe? Like, is it, you know? And then there was another line where I think, where was it? She said, oh shoot, she said something like, "Come get some," or like, "I'm gonna go get some." She like said a line like that. I was like, oh, maybe this is the same universe because we got the same car. There was a line or two like that was clearly from Evil Dead. Oh, and then the boyfriend mentions that his parents have a cabin in the woods. So I thought, oh, okay, maybe this is the same.
Right, yeah.
I think
Dead
it's more
universe.
nudge, nudge, wink, wink than being connected. Yeah, all you'd have to do is put a couple of elements into this, and yeah, you could quite easily put this in the universe. But at the same time, it's a separate movie, and it does have a tonal difference. I think that's Raimi does that. He like nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Remember this, and it's a bit of a laugh. Like I said, for people that are fans,
Yeah.
normies, like casual viewers, won't get it. It'll just gloss over their heads.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those things where it changes nothing. Like it doesn't add anything or take anything away. It just is.
Yeah. Where today the Easter eggs and the cameos are so painfully crowbarred in,
That
and
takes you
slapping you
out of it.
around the face, you just instantly leave the movie. Like the minute it comes in, poof, you're out. And it's just like, driving and hitting a load of potholes. You're like, dunk, 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 dunk. You know, that's watching a movie today. And I miss movies, I guess, back in the day where the director knew his fans and wanted, they call it fan service now. Well, isn't that not giving the customer what they want? And these people, oh, why would we want to please the fans? No, customers are paying money. This whole weird attitude. Where back then it was a bit of, if you are with me, thank you. Here's a wee nod and a wink to say I'm appreciating you, and that's all it is a wee appreciation. Because this movie's still brilliant. Like, even if you're not a hardcore Raimi fan and you're just watching it as a standalone movie and not even connecting it to anything else, if you've never seen anything else he's done, that's a brilliant movie. It's fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you've got to take it really with a if you're expecting to see a straight on horror film, a serious thing. Although I never remembered it being advertised as a comedy horror. And I know when I went to see it, and of course, it found ourselves laughing at some of the things. I know because it was Sam Raimi, you should have expected there to be things that you could laugh at. Because you go back to the Evil Dead and you laugh at that now. But for anyone who didn't know Sam Raimi, as we said, to go to that and think I'm going to see a horror film at the cinema, and then see this, they would have thought it's comedy horror.
Well, I feel like that's sort of like a bias type of thing. Like true horror fans, you've seen everything. You've already experienced it all. You're desensitized. There's no getting scared anymore, because that's the dragon that we all chase, is trying to find that movie that
something that'll freak us out and actually have it.
Yeah. So for someone like any one of us here, it's the shit that gets, as Colin lovingly refers to them as normies, like the shit that gets them, we laugh at because we've seen shit like that before or something similar, and it's not going to scare us. We just appreciate it, and that's how we show our appreciation. Whereas, like, if you go into this, you're not a horror fan, you're not really into any of that kind of shit, like it's going to play completely different. Because, like, a lot of those scenes, if you just think about what it actually is, not watching and all that shit, you consider what it is, it's fucking terrifying. Like all the shit that, of course, I giggle about, it's all the fucking gypsy chewing on her type of stuff. It's fucking gross. It's hilarious. But think about, oh, this is real life now. This is happening to me. That's fucking terrifying. You have some random lady chewing on your face. Like, I'd probably shit my pants and stab her.
Waiting in the back of your car,
Yeah. Well, oh my God, that's pure fucking horror. Especially when she just slightly goes forward and you get just a little bit of light and you see just a little bit of her face and that one fucked up eye. Like, that's terrifying.
Yeah. To me, also go ahead.
No, carry on, Chris. Go on, Chris.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say the thing that scares me too is the fact that her mind is going, like, she's seeing things that no one else is seeing. So it's not even like, if you're attacked by a stranger in a parking lot, at least, like, you have someone to talk about it with. You have someone that you can get counseling for. Things like that. When it's like all in your brain and no one believes you and no one else can see it. That, to me, when your own mind is betraying you, that to me is like the scariest thing of all, I think.
The movie that did that the best that I've seen in a long time was Smile.
Yeah.
The scene in the car,
really effective.
Now, the scene in the car, on the surface level, looks absolutely stupid, ridiculous. But where her sister walks up in her head, sort of, right? It looks daft until you cut to the next scene and you see her nephew looking out the window and she's just freaking out in a car and seeing nothing. That completely changes the tone, because that highlights of, right, that wouldn't frighten me, but that terrifies her. What would frighten me mightn't frighten somebody else. It's all up here. So we're seeing her representation, but then when it cuts to the next scene and you see the fact that she is completely alone and just losing it in the car, and that's terrifying. Her nephew is looking at this going, watching it in real life play out. That is brilliantly done. And I don't think another movie's really been able to bring that across. It's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, because there's such a fine line between showing the deterioration of somebody's psyche, mind, all that shit, and making fun of it almost. And Smile definitely was able to get that across, like with that scene, or even like the end where there's resolution, but that was all in her fucking head, and guess what, she's right back where she started. And like that shit, like that's fucking terrifying. But it could be easily turned to be like, oh, no, this person's just crazy, let's laugh at them.
Yeah, and she is, she's been hounded. Like, the minute that thing's released, and it was in the car park scene, it wasn't in the the bank, but it was in the car park where she takes the button and curses it and then
Yeah,
hands it
because
back.
Which,
that guy,
speaking of button, I got to show off one of my favorite movie props. This was the most bizarre thing that was sent to me, but yeah, the fucking button even says Llama's curse on it. It's like, wow,
Dude, I don't
you're
think that's
gonna
a gift,
send
man.
that prop, like the fucking like the frame that's holding it costs more than that goddamn button.
Cameron,
Whatever,
man, I
I
don't
love
think
it.
that's a gift. You got to get rid of that thing, man.
Yeah.
they tell you, don't they, the psychic, that on day one this will happen, on day two that this will happen, and on day three it is, yeah,
That's
it
cool.
introduces the sort of what she was expecting, and I think at first she didn't really believe it, but then there was the shock horror that it was happening. So
It was the
Well,
rapid.
that's a pretty traditional trope with any sort of curse movie, though. It's I mean, it's just like the stages of grief. Like, you're not just, X happens and then you're sad or whatever. No, there's stages like denial, acceptance, all that shit. So yeah, I mean, that was pretty much par for the course. The thing that surprised me was, it's a 3-day curse. Like, at the end of the 3rd day, you're fucking gone. But to have the parents in the opening, so like, this needs to be done and like taking it serious. It's like, it's your fucking kid. Kids do things. They say things. Like, who believes them?
Yeah. I think the best scene this has to be like the seance scene. Like,
yeah, that's the one where
I can't think of a
lot of
better.
people walked out.
I can't think of a better scene in a movie for a seance or a banishment. Not just the right mix of comedy and intensity.
Yeah.
Like, this was not messing about.
Yeah, the moment where Homeboy starts dancing while he's floating, it's like, yeah, okay, this is a Raimi movie.
I liked.
I
That's the bit that got to before walking out. That's hilarious, considering all that's happened up to that point.
I like most of the bank scenes, especially the one when she's
The
bleeding
bloody nose.
and it splats all over her.
she puts a hand up to hide the hose.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
Did
I get any in my mouth?
that sort of thing where she goes like this just took you back to the special effects of like the Evil Dead, when they were being sick and it was like, yeah, I just thought the bank scenes were the best ones for me. I thought, yeah.
And that's when I talked about it, maybe people didn't understand when I watched that latest Insidious movie. And there's a similar scene in it with the ghost, and people in the cinema were freaking out, and I'm just busted sofa because I've seen shit like this. You know what I mean? Loads and loads. And I just saw it, and I'm like, bah!
Right.
And people are actually. I'm like, have you ever watched a movie before? Like, people are like, "Ooh," the ghost is like spewing on her. I'm like, just. I've grown up with this stuff, and you just embrace it.
I thought that was an interesting theory they had, to take the goat, transfer the spirit into the goat, and then kill the goat, and then that was going to somehow kill the spirit. Like, I don't know. I just feel like if you like in other like horror movies and stuff like that, if you kill the host, like the spirit just goes to another host, right? Like, I don't know why they thought like that would do the trick.
It was physical contact. But then that's where the whole blending of occult and mysticism is a problem, because you could just be fast and loose with the rules. And that's, when you don't have that tied down, that's where people like scratch their heads afterwards, go, is that really,
Yeah.
That's why I brought up what I brought up.
Anybody
yeah,
for a doggy treat?
Hmm?
Doggy treat, anybody?
I'm good. I had a big breakfast.
Did you see moments of transformation with Christine's character?
Definitely.
Like, when she decides she's going to take proactive action, she's a frightening person.
Yeah.
Like, here, kitty, she doesn't even, she like embraces it, like there's an intensity there.
That's what I'm saying. She's not like the goody two shoes that they want you to think. Yeah.
Well, but the thing is, though, like to play devil's advocate, like, you're dying. You're not only dying, you're going to be going to hell and be tortured for all of eternity. That's gonna kind of fuck with somebody, and you're gonna go to darker places than you would ever imagine. Because you like, that's rule number one is self-preservation. So it doesn't surprise me that she went that way, especially towards the end, like with the button, like. Yeah, she's gonna give it to some motherfuckers. Like, she's gonna give it to that old man in the diner until she sees his wife come up with pie. I was like, oh, okay, never mind. I guess I can't give it to him. I still don't understand why she didn't give it to Stu.
That's
Nobody deserved that shit.
Messes with my head.
Yeah, like he should have had it.
I'd love to give it to Stu. That's the sort of person I would have given it to.
This is that's why I said at the beginning, this takes all the tropes and throws them out the window.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Going isn't the film just a lighthearted poke at the mishmash collection of cliche characters and situations? Yeah, that's what I mean. There is a bit of a, poke at it. That's that other layer that's underneath of, yeah, you're expecting your normal, boring horror movie. Well, I'm not going to do that, but you're still going to have fun.
Right. Well, I mean, one of the biggest things, it's the fucking ending.
Yeah.
Like, there's always supposed to be a happy ending, and that's not. Like, not even remotely.
I thought she was going to be redeemed by the fact that she didn't give the button to anyone, including Stu. I thought, like, if you were cursed for doing something wrong, that's the ultimate sacrifice. She's potentially, at that point, because she didn't think about the other strategy of giving the button back to, Ganoush. So the fact that she was risking eternal damnation because she just didn't have the heart to give it, I thought that might redeem her in the end. But
going on what you said though about her not being very nice when she was trying to give the button back to the in the grave, and she was going, I give this to you as a gift, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Choke on it, bitch.
Choke on it, bitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was
I would
terrible.
be the same. If somebody did that to me, I would want their soul ripped apart for eternity. In fact, I'd volunteer. How do you become a demon? I'll volunteer.
Right.
Change me into a demon just so I want my job to be fucking getting that person back for eternity. I'd spend eternity just ripping someone's soul apart if they came at me like that.
Let's be fair. Some of us would just do that even over minor inconveniences. Like somebody cuts in line at the grocery store. Destroy their soul for
There's a reason I don't go. Yeah, there's a reason I don't go out too much. Only when necessary, because it's like, that's. Yeah. I become a Rottweiler or Jack Russell, just people. And they're nonsense. But yeah, would sort of see that she's been building up this veneer, which is actually quite a clever character arc. Like, you're not meant to be taking this level, this amount of depth from this type of movie. On the surface, as a comedy, with a bit of the gross factor thrown in, but there's actually a bit more depth. Do you remember movies used to be like this?
Right. There used to be substance.
Yeah, and you had a little lures you could pick up on throughout the movie. Like, she does have a character arc, but unfortunately, doesn't do her any good.
No.
Do you remember the anthologies we've been reviewing, though? You have 3 really serious stories, don't you? And then at the end, you've got this comedy one.
Really silly one, yeah.
Yeah, and there has to be an element of comedy in horror, be it something that a horror fan would see or something that a true horror fan would see. You might get someone just go to the cinema and not see it to be funny, but you might get, like Cameron said, the true horror fan that would see all elements of the film, from the horror bit right through to there's an element of comedy in here, or an element of Easter eggs, but yeah.
Well, that's it. You're not going to get scared, so you're looking for something more than just what's presented.
Yeah, Sam Raimi does it perfectly. A lot of his films, Which is why I enjoy, if I hear his name, Sam Raimi, on a film, I think, oh, this is going to probably be good.
Mhm.
Just not as a producer. Just that's the trick. Just
Yeah,
watch that.
yeah.
Yeah,
You got to be
just-
careful with the production titles because it might just be lending his name to
we're
getting a little
producers.
bit extra funding.
He lent
Doesn't
the
mean we're
camera or
writing.
something. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's just it's just one of them things, and it's just so sad it's gone now. I mean, it's not even being snobby about it. I mean, it's gone in movies altogether, and it's just tragic because it's not a money thing. More money's being spent in movies now. In fact, almost budgets of small countries are being
Yeah.
spent in movies, and they're shit.
Yeah, I think what's made it worse as well, because I told you, didn't I, on the MGM opener, it comes up with an Amazon company underneath. And I saw the other day, like Paramount, were either one or the other producing Apple movies, and Apple, or whether Apple were producing Paramount movies.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of these big companies are taking over what used to be the studios in some way, whether it's finance or otherwise.
Mhm.
And you know,
I mean, you've got the same 5 people who run everything in entertainment doing all the same stuff. Then yeah, you're going to
Yeah.
run out of ideas. The whole point of splitting it up and having it silos that you get fresh ideas and fresh takes and better risk taking as well, which is gone completely now.
Mhm. No, it's like if it
The
doesn't
fast
fit
food
into the cookie cutter mold, it doesn't work. They won't
The
push it through.
burger. Oh, we've painted the new box, but it's the same burger, it's the same fries, it's the same
Mhm.
drink.
Mhm.
Boring. Next to the seance scene, like the graveyard scene in this was bloody brilliant.
Yeah, man.
Like you
That's
actually got the
That was
sense of
awesome.
claustrophobia in it.
terrifying. Mhm.
The fact that it was shot to make it look like she was really battling with a corpse without the corpse coming to life, just the way the angles and stuff like that. I
Yeah,
thought that was epic.
Mhm.
yeah, and the sort of she had that element of revenge in her voice. We were talking about revenge
Mhm.
when she was there giving her the button. She wanted to give her the revenge, like, "I got you, you bitch," sort of thing. And then suddenly, it doesn't work, does it? And then she tries to get out and everything, and it turns into the Sam Raimi style of the sort of comedy type of.
Yeah, but I think we all knew it was going to happen in the car scene. We knew this was
Yeah.
a point. In the car scene when they put on the brakes and everything fell out of the bag, and the guy's crossing, going, "You're all gonna die. You're all gonna die. You're gonna burn in hell." It's like you
Yeah, it's just
knew
funny.
you knew it wasn't happening. You knew the envelopes were getting switched because we already had the setup with the coin.
Yeah.
Um,
What would you?
At the end, when what's his name
Clay.
says, "I've got something for you." Ah!
Oh, you could have put it back on your jacket. Yeah, man, that's just so good.
What would you guys have thought if the movie had ended in the graveyard scene when she got taken underwater? And because I thought, like, wow, are they going to end the movie this way? Is she going to drown? Is it going to be like is that like a different message? What would you thought if the movie just ended right there?
It wouldn't have been the shock factor.
No, you wouldn't have had the
Yeah.
impact.
Raimi.
Yeah, I feel like the demon wouldn't have let her go out that way.
That would have been too easy.
Mhm.
Too easy, right?
Like in the seance scene when it's like, "Did you think I wanted your stupid cat?" As
Yeah.
if she insulted the demon with her offering.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Trying to
cat.
fucking spit it back up. That shit was funny.
And that's why demons are my favorite creature. People don't understand, but everyone's like, "Oh, this, that." No, demons are clever. They're articulate. That's why I don't like ghost movies, because ghosts are like, "Whoa," and can't form sentences.
Well, that's because ghosts are people, and people are stupid.
and they're too stupid to cross over to wherever they're meant to go.
Mhm.
So you're dealing with the dumbest of the dumb. Ghosts
Aren't,
are stupid.
aren't demons failed angels? Though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're people.
No,
No,
angels are separate creation.
But my mum
Steven needs to watch our Nominee.
My
learn
mum
more.
used to call me an angel.
She was wrong.
I'll tell you what, you think my jokes are bad. You should have heard my mum's when she was alive.
That's... So is this a trauma response, Stephen? Is that what you're doing? Is this start the therapy session now? Just get drag the couch in there.
If it was now, I'd be calling Childline and be taken away. Yeah.
But yeah, the ending of this movie, just the sun's bright, Stu's been caught out, all apologies given. She's got her job that she wanted.
New jacket.
She gets a new jacket, you know, that because that's obviously, you know, just perfect day, get a new jacket.
It's appearances. She's
Her
all about
boyfriend's
appearances.
about to make it official.
Yeah,
he's
I believe
ready
it.
to propose.
And you know something's going to happen.
Well, if you're a horror fan, you know something's going to happen.
Yeah.
When the sun's too bright and the birds cheep too loudly and everything just has a little sparkle about it, you're just waiting for it to come. You're like, this is not going to end well. And
Well, the thing is, too, it went a different direction than what it was leading up to. Like, it gave you the old switcheroo, like, oh no, it's gonna be fucking homeboy that dies, and nope.
yeah, because if it had been him taken, that would have made sense. He basically had the gift. Oh, I take it you give this to me, and if she had said yes, I did. If that had been the switcheroo, that still would have worked.
Or,
Yeah.
Man, no, you keep it. Boom, and he got taken.
or Stu was catching the same train.
I think the ruined the Stu part. Like Stu was out of the equation, you know.
Well, especially with the phone call.
Yeah. So the phone call kind of wrote Stu out of the equation. If she had to give it to him at the diner, like this is a bit longer than 90, this 1 hour 40 or something, so it's just over the 90-minute mark. So if they wanted to keep it under the 90-minute mark, yeah, she gave it to Stu, he went off, and then wrapped it up there. But the fact that it's went on along a bit, I don't know how I feel about it, if I'm honest, the ending.
Oh, I thought it was
fun to
fucking
watch.
perfect.
Like it's fun to watch, but in
Yeah.
terms of if you got philosophical about it, is this rightly what should this have happened, or is this just like Cameron said earlier, the universe being a bitch, just you have no control whatsoever, just circumstances, tough
Yeah,
shit.
I mean that's the name of the game. That's reality. Like life just sucks sometimes.
Well, that's
even
what
if
got
you're
me
a decent
started.
person.
That's what started me thinking about it, because at first it was like it didn't seem fair, and then I started thinking about all the examples where, you know, she was in the wrong. In fact, if you go back to the very start of the curse, Mrs. Gadouche was walking away. They had the security guards. They were taking her away. She hadn't done the curse yet. And then Christine reaches out because she sees all the people watching her, including her manager, and she reaches out to like apologize and say, "Oh, Mrs. Ganoush, I'll make it," you know, like she starts to like try to make it herself look better. And that's when Ganoush spins on her and does the curse. Up until like that moment,
No, the curse
was just
isn't
gonna
until
No,
walk
the
she
curse
away.
happened in the car park.
Yeah, that
well, the
happens.
official, yeah, that's true. But up until that moment, Mrs. Ganoush was going to say, "You shamed me," but she was starting to walk away, and then Christine reaches towards her, and then Ganoush spins on her and like, you know, like attacks her, and I think that's when she made up her mind that she was going to curse her. So, I think, you know, I know it's sad, you know, that her fate, but I feel like, you know, a lot of it she kind of, you know, caused herself.
Yeah, I mean,
Is this you trying to, as a non-horror connoisseur, trying to like squeeze in their box so it's comfortable? Where we're just
maybe.
like,
I just want my theory to look better.
well, it's not Chris's sensible, reasonable theories, is it?
That's fair.
Think about the segment.
I think the curse was given to the girl when Obi-Wan Kenobi came across with a lightsaber, and
As a deleted scene.
Still better than Disney Star Wars. Oh dear. But yeah, absolutely fun movie. This is one that's going to last forever.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
This
this
is
is one
a
you
good
can watch.
age.
You can watch over and over again.
Mhm.
And you know, I'm Mr. Mistake. I spotted a few, nothing too
I was gonna
drastic.
ask you about that, Stephen. Did you see any?
Yeah, you saw cameraman in reflection of the glasses.
Oh wow.
A boom mic in the seance scene actually. So yeah, there was a few there, but and Justin Long was when he drops her off, he's in the driving seat, and then in the next shot, he's in the passenger seat.
I gotta watch that back
That's funny.
now. That's a good one.
Yeah, there's a few there, but nothing too drastic. Nothing that you would notice unless you were someone like me.
Well, there you go, folks. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks everyone for turning up. This is a fun one to do.
Oh yeah.
And nice to have a full panel. All we need to do is find a way to get Dale involved and get the time zones matched up, and we'll get everybody involved.
Right.
Because everyone's been on the channel in different parts, and I've always wanted to try and get you all together. Because it's not.
And just for the other two lads, you know, Whoopi Goldberg in Ghost. You were talking about Ghost.
Mhm.
Yeah, if she had married Peter Cushing, she would have been called Whoopi Cushing.
On that note.
Yeah, on that happy note, we will all be back. There will be more theories, jokes, and arguments, and gushing over movies. That's what we do. Just needs to say, keep up to date with the channel, do the typey clicky things. Until next time, keep it creepy,
Keep it
keep it
horrific.
horrific.